the kiddos that we're teaching, the ones that are in middle school, elementary school right now, if you think about it, they're the digital natives. They're the ones that are getting all the experiences with the touch screens and the iPhones and all that unique technology. So we're the ones playing catch up. We got to figure it out just as fast as it's being developed. So we have another question right back here. So let me go with,
First, I agree with this lady right here. I'm sorry, I don't remember your name, Nancy, about the iPhones and the use with the children. I have a 16-month-old grandbaby, and she's learned to sing. She can count to like 30. And a lot of that is, not that I let her have it all the time, but like you said, they can work those phones and things. Fantastic. She's really learning from that. I videotape her and I let her watch. But I also work in a preschool. And this other lady was saying, how do you get the resources for the parents? Not only that, in my facility, we don't have internet access. We also have to deal with directors or people on the upper level who don't think TV is appropriate in the classroom. So my problem is, I use it once in a while and I try to incorporate it with my lesson plans, whatever I'm working on. But if it was up to my center, they would probably have us put our TV away. We don't have cable, so unfortunately we don't get to watch Channel 13 because I probably have it on every day. And we don't have internet access, so I have to like buy a certain little disc and come up, try to be creative with my use of my media and my technology. So, like I said, it's not just a challenge for our parents. It kind of goes all the way around in my facility with media.
Excellent, thank you. Roberta, go ahead.
Well, I think I just lost that thought, but I think the issue of, I guess I'm working on a committee that's revising the NAIC position statement on technology, and we've gotten a lot of feedback from a variety of different people. And one of the things that we're struggling with is the fact that the American Academy of Pediatrics is standing by their statement that children under 2 should not have any interaction with screen, and that 3 to 5-year-olds should have limited access. So when you think about why administrators of programs are hesitant to embrace technology, I think there are some real concerns that we haven't figured out. And the American Academy of Pediatrics has said point blank, it's not that they know there's any evidence, they just don't know because there's no evidence. And so I think that, I feel like I just have to say that's why I think some people are so hesitant when you think about screen time only. And so I would prefer to enlarge the conversation to include recordings and cameras and things like that, so that we're certainly not meaning that they should sit in front of a screen all day.
Great, thank you. We have a question back here, but let me just let me highlight it or preface it with, she's charging her iPhone via her laptop. So here's a question back here.
Sorry about that. I am paying attention. I have an hour drive. I actually am from Ohio, so I have an hour drive home. This is not a question, but just a comment. Most people living in the Pittsburgh area do get Comcast for their cable. And is there any way that you guys here today can possibly get Curious George on demand? Curious George.
Thank you for. May I answer? Thank you for asking that question. Do you want it on demand on television, or do you want it on demand on computer?
That's a very good question. Of course she would say both.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so first of all, it is available via computer, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. And then I want to talk to you about video on demand and these portals that we have with video as well. So first of all, PBS launched video on demand with Comcast this summer, and it's there. So if you go into Comcast video on demand and you go into the kids section, there's a whole PBS section. Now the inside baseball of that is that at least from my own recollection, and I was on it maybe 10 days ago, it's the PBS Kids Go block, which is the block for 5 to 8-year-olds. It's not the 3 to 5 block, but I could be wrong about that. They may have Martha Speaks, but they do not have Curious George. But there is video on demand, and if that works, then they're going to put, they're going to put everything on video on demand as well. And I personally don't see that as any kind of threat. It actually, the more we've put things online, the more things we put out there, the more people actually can take advantage of it. And that's what we want. We want to create great shows that actually inspire learners and actually are demonstrating progress for all kinds of learners, and we want to make it accessible. Secondly, Teacher's Domain, as we talked about, has all kinds of video clips, including Curious George. So when you go on Teacher's Domain, I've made you this special space and put Curious George videos on there, these short videos. So it's not the whole episode, it's actually kind of what we would recommend for the classroom, right? It's those short videos, just like those sound videos that are there. So that's online. And then of course you can go into the Get Curious Pittsburgh site, which has drawn all of the videos from the Curious George website that we have access to, all the games, all the activities, everything, and actually position that in one central location for you already. And we will continue to imbue that with resources on getcuriouspittsburgh.org until, into perpetuity. We're putting new season 5 resources on there as we speak.
Great, thank you. And I know that we, for the sake of time, because we have an evaluation to fill out yet, and I know there's one last question that our Assistant Director, Jen Sapochny, wanted me to ask the panel. And it is, in this world of high-tech devices, such as the iPads and smartphones, computers and interactive video games, how do we as early childhood professionals engage curiosity, creativity, and imaginative play in the classroom? We kind of touched on that already, but I would like to hear the panel expound. Ernie smiling.
I'm going to jump on it.
Go right ahead.
And then he can finish. But I just have to, I have to talk about dramatic play, because that's something that's near and dear to my heart, and that children will pretend. And I think if we look at what kinds of things are in their play environment, Michelle, you said it, in terms of your own experiences, but your child is not going to play about an ironing board and an iron because she's never had that experience. But I have a 3-year-old granddaughter, and the other day she was over at my house and she was sitting at the desk and she was hitting the keyboard, and screens, I had something open, screens were popping, and I said, Josie, what are you doing? And she said, there's a birthday party this weekend, and I'm looking for the invitation. And I thought, now here she is pretending. I mean, she understands the purpose of this screen that her parents have is to look things up, and that things come in email or somehow they're on that screen. And then a couple minutes later, she was still kind of hitting the keyboard, and I said, what are you doing? And she said, Mama says it's at North Park. I'm looking for North Park. So she wasn't looking, I mean, she couldn't see anything because she doesn't know how to work a keyboard, but she was clearly pretending about experiences that she has seen her parents do. And so I think we have to look at how we provide that environment for children.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that one of the beauties I think of technologies that you can stop, pause, or start it, so that as children are involved in something, and I am not an advocate of just putting something on and letting it run for 30 minutes. If an adult or teacher is there, you could stop that video to see if that person is comprehending, or that child is comprehending what's going on so far. But with the creativity and thinking skills, what would you do in this case, or how could you change this scenario to come up with some questioning? And later on, why don't we act out the scenario that you just told me about, so take it to the dramatic play kind of venue.
I'm thinking about another great public broadcasting resource, and that's Sid the Science Kid. And at a certain part of the episode, teacher Susie says, go play with your ideas. And so when I think about this question, if you engage children in technology in appropriate ways and then put them away and say, go play with your ideas, you're getting the best of both worlds.
I think ultimately as NAIC revises the statement on technology, what at least we're hoping for locally is, what is the definition of technology? Because sometimes some people hear that and all they think is television, some people think computers, some people think iPhones, but really a lever system or a pulley system is also technology, or anything that makes something move, any kind of simple machine. So really, really having a clear definition of what technology is. And then, thinking about how it just enhances learning. So when children are their most creative, again, go back to dramatic play, one of my favorite places. Wow, what a great opportunity. Yesterday when I walked into my child's classroom, they had the best structure. I couldn't believe it. There was an airport and a parking garage, and it was incredible. And I was so thankful that the teachers had a digital camera. And I remember when I taught and how you would run around the room trying to find the Polaroid, if you even had that. Or you'd have the camera, then you had to wait for it to be developed. And at that moment, I thought, this is what we really need to talk about, because those teachers were able to take a picture instantly, they were able to show other children, they were able to show me, and I thought, that's really what we have to be talking about.
I really can't say it any better than that. For us at WQED in the education department, media is a platform for kids to tell their own stories and to express their capacity. And so that's what we aspire for media to be for you too. We want to make sure that kids as storytellers can tell us exactly what they know and what they don't know and what they're experiencing. And I think that's a really, really amazing thing that we get to do with the aid of media.
All right, everybody, that was really great. I want to thank you for participating in the panel. Thank the audience for some great questions. Any last-minute wrap-up questions that we have with the panel? We have a little bit of time while you're completing your surveys, and then on your way out, you can get your certificates upstairs for the professional development aspect. Any other burning questions that we have out in the audience?
David, could I just mention really quickly the fantastic project that Carnegie Mellon University is embracing and really Larry Berger here at the Children's Museum. There's a great new project called Hear Me, and it's doing exactly what we just spoke of, really trying to capture the stories of all children, our youngest children and youth all the way up to age 21, and to use the technology resources like an incredible place like CMU has, and really be able to use those stories to ultimately change policies for how we think about and how we fund what children and families need. So when we talk about access, really looking at our #1 priority at the end of the day is our children. And telling their story really gets key stakeholders to realize that they have to listen. So look for more information about that. I know there will be many events here at the Children's Museum, QED, AC, CalU. It's going to be everywhere. So it's really an opportunity to shift that policy making and putting children first.
Great, thank you, panel. Let's give them one more round of applause.